ourselves. But do you realize that mental health is just as important as your emotional health and your physical health? And we need to attend to it just as much as we attend to our physical health. So one of the things, the reason why we need to attend to it, because we often, as we all know, we all live in a stressful environment, whether we're at home or whether we're at work. Does anyone know whether stress is a good thing for us or a bad thing for us? Do you think we need stress in our lives? We do. We need a little bit, because that's what provokes us to move to the next stage. So around the table, I've given you some orange little facts about stress. And I was wondering if we could get some volunteers to read out some facts.
Chinese stress balls or bowling balls are believed to alleviate stress because they apply force to pressure points on the hand.
Thank you. Does anyone know that? Is aware that if you use things to manipulate or play with your hand, it alleviates stress? Can someone else give me another fact? A fact that's what causes stress. Has anyone got?
Reaction to stress?
In the UK? What?
Can I read that?
Yeah, you can read that.
Reaction to stress makes the blood thicker and more viscous, which can lead to a blood clot.
Did anyone hear that? Did everybody hear that?
No.
Okay.
Reaction to stress makes the blood thicker and more viscous, which can lead to a blood clot. Powerful hormones intended for urgent situations only flood the brain and can kill healthy brain cells.
Could someone use another fact?
Stress poses a great threat for diabetes and heart attack by altering blood sugar levels. This can cause fatigue, impulsive mood changes, and hyperglycemia.
Another?
In the UK alone, approximately 5 million people are stressed in their jobs. Among the jobs considered most stressful are commercial air pilot, photojournalist, surgeons, and advertising account executives. Bringing up a family in a highly developed and urbanized city where everyone has to put up with the high cost of living, rising crime rate, traffic congestion, air pollution is highly stressful.
There's 20 factors. Does anyone else have one that they'd like to read?
Stress is one of the main factors causing insomnia and other sleep disorders. When stressors are present, the body naturally heightens its response system, thus leading to wakefulness.
Is all this information new to everybody about what happens with stress? Stress is one of the highest killers, leader before cancer, before anything else. And and people don't talk about it much, and it's our mental health that we're not taking care of. And one of the facts, there are 3/4 of the human population undergo stress at various levels in a 2-week period. And the working population is particularly subject to emotional, physical, and mental stress. And the reason why it's the silent killer, because it's not balanced. We just live in an environment and we try and manage our stress by saying it's okay, we can do it, we can get through the day, we can do all these things, and piling, and not attending to ourselves and not thinking about what we need to maintain a healthier life. But if we had a headache, we would take a tablet. If we had a tummy ache, we would go to the doctors. But when we're feeling stressed, what do we often do?
We had more stress.
You are so right. Because what do we tend to do as women?
Oh, yeah.
Just keep going.
We do. We eat.
Shopping.
Go shopping.
And what happens when we do that?
And then get stressed
And the fact is that we numb our pain, we numb our stresses. And one of the things that we can't do as humans is that selectively numb. And what we do, we end up numbing everything. And so we're not feeling, we're just getting through the moment without really experiencing the moment. And today I just want to talk to you and just give you a window about what you could do in the moment to kind of be present in the moment. Because most of us are thinking about tomorrow or thinking about yesterday and never in the moment our experience, whether we're cooking a meal or where we're doing our work, where we're driving to work or coming home, we're thinking about food, we're thinking about this, we're thinking about the bills we need to pay or can't pay, and we're just constantly never present. When we're talking to our children about their homework, we're thinking about something else. When we're talking to our husbands, we're considering what happened yesterday or what we've got to do tomorrow. And so one of the things that I wanted to say, there's a woman called Brene Brown on YouTube, and she talks about numbing, and we are the any generation before the most obese, the most addictive, the most taking prescription drugs than any of our generations before. Wow. And it's in particular our addiction issues around whether it's alcohol, and addiction doesn't necessarily mean drinking and drugs. Addiction is shopping, addiction is sex, addiction is TV, because anything that shuts down, cell phones, yes, that's so we're not feeling. So one of the things that I wanted to so one of the things I kind of wanted to do today is to, just as women, talk to you about some of the things you could do in the moment to just allow yourself to stay present, because we know in research it says we are less likely to be stressed if we can be present. So for example, if we're driving to work or driving anywhere, and as usual, as if you're working mothers, you're never on time because you're always thinking you've got to get here and get there and do this. And we get quite stressed if we're in a traffic jam or there is an accident because we're thinking about, oh, we're going to be late and this is going to happen and that happens. Apparently, our stress level goes up to there because we're worrying and stressing about what we need to do and what we can't do and can't get to. But if we stay present and accept that it is what it is in that moment, it brings our stress level right back down. And that's what we don't do. We tend to just really always continue to be stressing ourselves out by thinking about yesterday or tomorrow. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is when we're in our stressful situations, which most of us are 90%, or me, 90% of the day. So what happens is that I don't react in a way that I want to usually because I'm so stressed thinking about the things I should or shouldn't do. So one of the things when we talk about mindfulness and being present in the moment, we're talking about 3 states of mind. Does anyone know we have 3 states of mind? No? Has anyone ever heard of mindfulness? Yes? So 3 states of mind. We have a reasonable mind, we have an emotional mind, but most of the time, but what we need to always be bringing ourselves back to is wise mind. This is when we are able to balance our emotional mind and our reasonable mind and pull them together so we're acting or responding accordingly. So a reasonable mind, for an example, a reasonable mind, someone that would stay in a reasonable mind most of the time during their working day is, say, paramedics, because they can see it's an emotional situation when they attend to their work, but they've got to be focused, they can't get emotional, they've got to move. But actually it's not the healthiest place to stay in all the time. Emotional mind, an example of emotional mind is when we're responding to an accident, one of our children comes in and they're distressed because they fell over and there's blood and we're screaming and carrying on and everything. That's emotional mind. But often as parents, we're able to move into wise mind because we balance and say, okay, I need to attend, I need to phone this person, or I need to get the plaster or the Band-Aid and take care of it. So reasonable mind is a rational, logical, good for problem solving and uses little or no emotion. An emotional mind is emotions are in control of one's mind, thoughts and behaviors. And what's good about emotional mind, because they're all good minds to be, but it's when we don't move towards balance, is Because emotional mind creates motivation. Motivation for us to move and do things and makes us react to situations. But if we're always in emotional mind, then we're always what? Do you think?
Stressed.
Always very hyper.
Always very hyper. That's exhausting. That's very exhausting. So if we stay in emotional mind, if it's exhausting, what's it taking from us? Do we think?
Energy? I think so.
Energy. An emotional mind, being emotional means you always respond from an emotional perspective and never from a rational perspective. And especially when we're dealing with, when we feel overwhelmed and stressed already and we go into situations and we're not aware of what's going on in our body. Because most of us don't. Most of us here, I would say, don't even know how much hours we need to sleep each day to feel good in the morning. We can kind of guess.
7.
7 hours.
8 hours. 6 hours.
Maybe 8, maybe 6, 7, 8.
6. 8 hours. 8 hours.
8 hours. And see, everybody goes by the recommended, but we're all individuals and all different, and we've all got different stress levels, and we need different things. And for me, for example, speaking for myself, is that one of the things is that I always believed that I needed 5 hours and I could be good. I don't know what good is, because I didn't recognize that actually if I take 10 hours, I'm feeling on top of the world. I wake up so groggy. We're so used to just dealing with how we feel that we just go with it. But actually, I need 10 hours. Actually, I needed 5 hours 10 years ago. Now I'm an old woman. I need 10 plus. So one of the things I kind of wanted to talk to you about is about using a mindfulness skills. So there are lots and lots of different kinds of skills in mindfulness. There are things from praying to drinking a cup of tea, to meditation, to lots and lots of different ideas that you can do in the moment or you can take your time to do. But by learning a mindfulness skill, people are better able to control their emotions and their attention. And so because when you can control your attention, you can decide you're more in control of you rather than your emotions in control of you. So one of the things that the things about mindfulness is that it helps us take control of our decisions, because often we respond to situations, but we don't take control of those situations. And what mindfulness does, it allows you to take a little vacation or to bring yourself right down, come one with the moment, and experience what you're feeling inside your body before you respond to the situation. So when we're talking about mindfulness, it refers to be completely in touch with what's going on and in the present moment and being aware of what's happening. So one of the things I'd like you all to do is to get your glass and fill it up with some beverage. It doesn't matter what it is, because I want you to experience what you can do with mine. You need to have a drink inside it. Whether it's water, okay, water. So one of the things that we often do, is everybody nearly got their drinks? Yeah. One of the things we often do, we say, I'm thirsty. We grab the drink, we bring it down, we say, did I drink that water? Did I taste that tea? Did I? Because we're not present in the moment. When we're drinking that thing, we're just doing it because we know we're thirsty, we want to get it down there, and then we move on. And that's what causes us to be unwell. That's what causes stress, because we can't stay still. And that's just an example, but we do it all the time because we live in that kind of environment now. So when you are feeling stressed, or the next time you take a glass of water or a cup of tea, one of the things that I like to do, I have a stressful job, I work with mental health, and so one of the things I do when I come out from being with a client for a couple of hours, I'll go to a coffee shop, I'll take the coffee, and instead of just drinking it down, I want you to hold the glass or the cup. I want you to, one of the things is that I sit with the moment, because it's being one with the moment and seeing what it is, what you're doing. So if you hold the glass and look at the glass and look at how the light reflects onto the glass, and then you bring the glass up to your mouth, and when you take your first sip, you feel the water or the beverage in your mouth and feel how it goes down your throat. Remember, you're experiencing it. You're not just doing it because it's a part of. You're being mindful, mindful. You're not thinking about tomorrow. You're not thinking about yesterday or what you need to do. A glass of wine is always good. A glass of wine is good. The thing, when you do this, usually I do this to a smaller group where I teach dialectical skills, is that we ask you to experience the moment where everybody goes quiet, and we get you to think about the glass, the water, how it reflects, how the water feels on your hand or the glass feels on your hand. Does it feel the sensation? Does it feel nice? Does it feel cold? What does it do to the rest of your body? Because at any time you think of something else, you bring yourself back to the water. I mean, it is this mindfulness, teaching mindful is like a 4-week session, and I'm trying to give it to you in 20 minutes. But is the next time you take a beverage, think about drinking the drink so you remember it afterwards, and thinking how it feels in your throat, how it feels. Because these things work, they calm you down, because when you're one with the moment, you are more present to deal with what's in front of you or what you need to do. Okay? Thank you for your time.
I have a question.
Okay.
I've had most times that people say red wine is stress. But I want to ask, non-alcoholic red wine, as Christians, that's my belief. Anyway, does it also ease stress? Non-alcoholic red wine, does it reduce stress in the body?
I don't know what it reduces. I don't know if it reduces stress, but what it does, it's the activity that reduces the stress often. Chocolate, dark chocolate, we know does reduce stress. But it's more about the activity about, even if you're drinking it, whether you're drinking an alcoholic or non-alcoholic beverage, or a hot or cold beverage, it's about sitting and being present in the moment and not thinking about yesterday or tomorrow. And just being one with yourself. Because it's only when you're one with yourself you understand who you are and you're in control of your emotions rather than allow your emotions to control you.
Thank you.
The other day I was listening to something, and they said that there's a research going on. Most women with breast cancer is because of the high risk of the stress.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much coming out more about the stress of women today, and then how it's impacting our health, because we're becoming more and more unwell physically. And one of the things that I just wanted to quickly say, amen, is that often when I talk to clients about mental health, I say, are we susceptible to mental health issues? People want to know, am I going to get it? What's going to happen? If I came from a family who are diabetic, which I do, there are certain things I stay away from. If I have a family that has susceptible depression and issues like that, I stay away from it. Cancer. That's what you have to do. You have to remember that we're vulnerable to all these, and then it impacts our bodies. Because we know that our bodies, what happens in stress kills because it impacts our body. They're not separate. So that's the difference.
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions? Allison?
Yeah.
Oh,
What's your question?
Oh, yeah, the
Since
question.
we don't have questions, she'll ask a question.
yes, the question is, what's the 3 states of mind that I said earlier?
The first two people, Eva and Chibi. Sorry, I didn't look this way, but I just saw 2 of you.
Okay. You want me to give you all 3?
Yes, please.
Reasonable mind, emotional mind, and wise mind.
Hey, I got your Sorry. Sorry. All right, thank you very much, guys. So now, so we finally got into the stage of our breakfast that was started, a couple of hours ago, and it's time to reveal what our makeover looks like.